Hey guys, Katrin here with Maplewood Dog, and I thought the dogs and I would do a training tip video on the different types of downs that you can teach a dog. And now somebody would be like, well, isn't a down a down? And it's like, well, actually there's a bunch of different ways a dog can move into a down position, and depending on what your goals are for your dog in that position, you might want to do some thinking about which way you've trained them. So Zora and I, and probably Tommy too, if he wants to participate, come here buddy, are going to just go through a couple of the different types of downs that you can teach a dog. So the first one is kind of the classic that I think most people recognize, which is the moving into a down position from a sit. So here we have Zora's already in her nice little sit. Good girl. You sit down. Good girl. Yay, good dog. All right, so a lot of dogs, when they move into that position, they might do a little bit of what we kind of call a sloppy sit, where they're sitting on their hip, or they might be sitting squarely on their rear end. They move into the down, and you go from there. So in terms of life in general, it's a pretty useful behavior, but it does require that your dog be in a sit position first. Another way we can get a dog to do a down is to teach them to do a down directly from a stand. So stand. Good girl. Yay, good dog. So you saw, she didn't sit first. Her body kind of went pretty levelly down into that down. Another little down position we can talk about is whether they're going to do a down on the hip or what we call a Sphinx down. And Sphinx down is just like, imagine the Sphinx guy in Egypt, where he's sitting up like a lion. And the down on the hip is where the dog's flopped onto their hip. Now a Sphinx down is one, like if you're doing a drop-on recall and obedience, you probably want, or if you're doing a down in agility, you probably want, because it's faster for a dog to get out of that one than it is if they're on their hip. Now, if you're doing like a long down stay, for some reason, a lot of people like to teach their dog to do that down on their hip because they feel the dog is less likely to pop out of it, because it does take a little bit more work for the dog to pop out of it. Zora also has another version of a down where she moves into a Sphinx down. Then she pushes her butt all the way back, so she's actually down on her little thighs back there. And then she usually puts her head down on the ground and looks like a very, sad, dejected little corgi. So let's talk about the Sphinx down. So for Sphinx down, you usually want their elbows to hit first, and then their butt. And when their butt hits, you want them to stay kind of on their toes down to their hock. You don't want them resting on their the back of their thighs like she tends to do. Good girl. Yay. And then if you want a dog to flop onto their hip, she doesn't actually know how to do that. Tommy does though, so Tommy's gonna come here and come here, Tommy. Good boy. Tommy there is in his little down on his hip, which is his preferred way to do a down. One last down that we can't forget is Zora's favorite position, her classic frog dog. Frog dog extraordinaire. Zora's favorite way to do a down. Good girl. Okay, good dog. Some of the variations on a way a dog can do a down position. You can teach them to do it at your side, in front of you, behind you, between your legs, under a piece of furniture like a chair, on a platform like this. And they all have different applications and uses, and they can be really handy to teach your dog to do them down in different ways on different cues. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you like and comment, and don't forget to hit the button below to subscribe.